You know, there's a time I stayed in the house for over 7 months, not stepping out of the house at all, because I was ashamed. There was so many feelings of shame. Because now I was this mighty Rosina, now it's just nobody. It was a lot. It was dark. It was dark. Like I've been in dark spaces before, but that was dark. People, you know, from the outside looking in, they think you're lazy. Because in that moment itself, they think you're very lazy because you don't have motivation to do anything, to be honest. I did not have motivation. I did not. Even to wake up, I was struggling to live, to stay alive. I felt so embarrassed. How am I here? And I wish I could say, like, I saw it coming, but I did not see it coming at all. I did not anticipate for that to happen. I'm not lucky when it comes to love. Whether it is with partners, whether it's with other people, like I'm not just lucky. I'm not a lucky person when it comes to love. Because I've tried. I have tried. When it comes to love, I've tried. Even with my parents, I have tried. With friendships, I have tried. I don't know if you've ever experienced, I don't know if I should call them narcissists, but it's like they read you before they start acting. They read you to the T. They knew everything I loved. Oh my God. How I wanted to be loved. Very performative human beings. Very oh my God, they would perform it. They would perform it. And then it started being controlling. I went back and then nikampata na flat. Msichana tena mwingine. So sikumwambia I'm leaving immediately, yeah? So nilikuwa nimepanga because najua nikisema I'm leaving, it's a problem. Nikajifanya sasa again like we are okay. Na alikuwa anapika, nikamwambia bana, can I listen to music? Akasema okay. Nikaeka music loud. Niliweka music loud. Alafu nikaangalia mlango imefungwa but haijafungwa na the lock. Nikajua hii ndi chance yangu ya kutoka. Unfortunately, there is another gate huko mbele. And I kept going to the kitchen to check. And I'm there, I'm coming behind, I'm hugging. I'm like, oh, thank you for cooking for me. And I'm there all lovey-dovey. Ndi asishuku. Nimeitisha ubangu. Alafu nimetext the Uber guy. Nimemwambia, ukifika hapo kwa gate, akiniulizia kama kuna mtu anaweza nisaidia kufungua hiyo gate. Na usinipigie. Don't call. Just text. Acha nikwambie. Nikaona ameconcentrate kupika, nikatoka. Wawe tipto, hata sikuvaa viatu. Nikafungua pole pole. Nimetoka mbio. Mtu Uber akaniambia, hiyo gate haijafungwa vizuri, enda angalia. Nikakimbia. Penye nilitoka. Hata sijui kama aliniona nikitoka kwa hiyo gate ama alikuwa too occupied. Niliacha everything. Viatu, nilikuwa nimevaa, hata sikuwa nimevaa kitu chini. T-shirt. Kama mwenda wazimu. Kimbia mbio. Uber alikuwa ameniambia kwenye mpaka, ilikuwa kando kidogo hivi. Mtu mwingine kwa barabara hiyo siku. Thankfully kuna mtu alikuwa na masimu. Nikakimbia nikaingia kwa hiyo gari. Nikamwambia na siku hata na pesa ya Uber hiyo siku. Nikamwambia just take me home. Ndio uzuri niko na simu yangu. Ndio naanza kupigia watu nisaidie ni pesa ya Uber. Nisaidie ni pesa ya Uber. Nikaenda home nikasema najua siwezi kaa home kwa mtu anajua kwenye nakaa. Nikachukua nikachange, nikaenda kwa rafiki yangu mwingine. And that is the first time, you remember the first trip I made to Ghana? I was actually escaping this guy. I hate to, because my friends were like, no, hawezi kaa huko. Hawezi. Because mtu atakupata kwenye huko. They took my daughter. And they said, we have to get you out. And go somewhere like hawezi kupata. And stay at least 2 weeks. Akupose kabisa. Tukaambia kiateka, mtu akinitafuta aseme nimehama. That is when I left. The first time. You know, after that whole ordeal, let me tell you. No, actually, while I was still in that relationship. So, a friend of mine, a Ghanaian makeup artist, yeah, tells me there's a friend of hers who is marrying a Kenyan woman, right? And they're coming to Kenya on this and this time. Yeah, she was just essentially asking if I can do makeup for them, but then I was occupied that time. Then I said, no, I don't think I'll be able to. Okay, just meet my friends then. It is okay. While I was there, I went and met the bride and the groom and his friends. That is when groom and his friends, and they were in Kenya at the time. And I just said, hello, nothing. Like, it was just, how are you doing? You're well? Okay, cool. That's just about it. Nothing much came out of it when they were in Kenya. And then they went back to Ghana. We did not keep in contact as much. And then now when I was making this trip to Ghana, I said, but I have people in Ghana. What do you mean? I have people I know in Ghana. Let me start talking to him that time. The one I had connected with the most when they were in Kenya. Because I told my friend, thank God he was actually a friend of this makeup artist. So she's like, yeah, let me give you a number. So I started talking to him. That is where now. Yeah. Then I said, I'm coming to Ghana. Then I'll pick you up. Don't worry about accommodation. I said, okay. So that is how it started, really. Then I made a trip to go to Ghana. And that is just, yeah. And I thought, like, to be honest, yeah, if there is one person I would say was actually very good to me, was that he was a very kind and gentle soul, and very understanding and very supportive. Very, very supportive. Oh my God. I don't think I've ever felt support like I felt well in that relationship. Very supportive. Very, very supportive. That is one person who supported my career like it was his business. Really. Anything I wanted, aside from in Ghana, the first trip I made to Ghana, I did use my money because we had not known each other like that, to be honest, for me to, we were just getting acquainted at the time. But then I got to know him, and then, he started being very involved in my life, and he wanted to be involved, and he was very supportive. He pushed me a lot, to be honest. And, because I had trauma, let me tell you, mimi ndo niliharibu. I cannot even blame the guy, to be honest. I cannot blame mimi ndo niliharibu hiyo. I don't know, after my, that relationship I was in, the very toxic one, after that, I had very low tolerance for anything. Yeah, very low tolerance, and I was very guarded. So that trip, because now we started getting acquainted. It's not like we had known each other for a very long time, but then, because now we were like, and then he asked me to be his girlfriend, whatever. I said, okay, and then after that, I find him flirting with some girl. And to me, that was not bargainable, to be honest. To me, I had very low tolerance already at the time. I looked at it and I was so disappointed. I was very, very disappointed in him. And then I spoke to him about it. And then he said, I was not sure before, but now I am. And I looked at the messages. I'm like, Then I said, I cannot believe you until you prove it to me. But unfortunately, I never got over it. I never did. And he was good. Like, he really did prove himself, to be honest. He did. And he was very good to me. And he did not cheat. After that, the whole thing, yeah. No flirting, no nothing. He was very good. But then, nilikuwa nishatoka. Like, ilinishinda. And he was an amazing guy. Amazing. Oof, wewe mwenye ataolewa kwake atakuwa sawa sawa. He was an amazing guy. But then I could not just, I saw him very differently after that. And I kept asking myself why. Like, all of a sudden, the feelings I had for this guy, they're just gone. And I kept blaming myself for it. Because, like, how do you find an amazing person and just stop loving this person? During that time, I lost a lot of things during that period. I think I just let myself go. Because I was handling a lot mentally, I believe. And I made a lot of mistakes when it comes to finances. Financially, I made a lot of mistakes and I lost a lot. Financially, I lost almost everything. And he did not even judge me when that was happening. He did not judge. He said, "It is time for you to rest. Let me take care of it." That is the first time anybody has ever done that to me. For me, rather. And he was just there, like, "It's okay, let me take care of it. You take your time." He was willing to pay for my therapy. He was willing to, he went above and beyond. And I tried. I went and asked even therapists, I was like, why am I not loving this person? You know, like you feel so guilty because this person is amazing. You feel so guilty. And you don't want to drag him along, you know, because he deserves the best, to be honest. He deserved way better than how I was treating him, because I would just dump my frustrations on him. Today I'm angry, and tomorrow he doesn't even know who he's going to encounter tomorrow. Leo niko hivi kesho. Lakini eventually I was honest with him and I said, genuinely speaking, I don't feel it and I don't want to, like, you're such an amazing person. Yeah, and I really want to love you like that, but I just can't. And it was so heartbreaking because he was so hurt. Oh my God, he was hurt for a very long time. And I just had to let it go, unfortunately. He was very open about his feelings. He spoke about them and he said, talking about it, like, I saw you as not just, you were like my wife, you know? That is what I saw in you. And I was so invested in this. And it's just it hurts me so much that it can't work. And he just spoke about it very gently. It was not a blame game or I blame you for not loving me or I spent so much on you. There was never blame games, nothing of the sort. He said, thankfully you told me. I wish you could have told me earlier. That was the only issue. I wish you could have told me earlier. But I'm not like mad, angry at you. I'm just hurt that it had to happen this way. And it was so different because even in that essence, he was still very gentle. Very, very gentle. And very kind. And he offered me so much grace. You know what? I'm not going to stop supporting you. It's okay. Until you get back on your feet, I'll be here. And man, yeah, I feel like as much as it ended the way it ended, yeah, some part of me, yeah, I still feel that, I don't know, I still blame myself to this day. But then it had to happen because, generally speaking, even I don't want to drag people along that much. And you know, the one thing people confuse, yeah, a lot, I feel like, for social, because I feel like there need to be a bit of correction for the majority of the public, because they tend to think when I speak of Ghanaian guy, I am speaking of this. But it's a different person. It's not the same person. It is not the same person. No, the one who got me a mansion in Ghana, to be honest, I felt like that one was not a relationship. It was not a relationship. It was just a deal I made. You know, when I was with the angel, that is when Trudy invited me to their mansion. That time they just got the mansion in Ghana. So I went. That is when I met. Yeah. I went there and then we were just chatting with Trudy and doing her makeup and then just hanging out, you know. And then now she introduced me. It was a fitness trainer of Nani Wadamaya. I think Wadamaya was a fitness trainer at the time. Then I said, hello, nothing much, right? Sasa, the second trip I was making to Ghana, unfortunately, I was not with the angel. We had already parted ways, you know. But then we were still friends, quote unquote. Yeah, so I was making a trip to Ghana the second time, just for the sake of it, because I loved Ghana. Just for the sake of it, yeah. So I went. I had told the angel already, like, I'm coming to Ghana. So, and then I told this one as well. And I think I told Trudy and some other friends I had met already on my first trip. Then I went. Now it is this one that picked me up from the airport because he works in a show, whatever, cars. And then we started, like, that is when we started talking, but then we were not like in a relationship, to be honest. Me and we were not, it was more of a business transaction because what he was doing is just trying to get me deals in Ghana. And then we made a deal with oh my God, real estate company. And they paid me good money even to advertise that. Your video ilikuwa pesa mzuri. Oh my God. Nikasema pesa mzuri. To create one hell of a false narrative. You know, it was a script. We had to sit down. Tulika the whole night writing that script. Proper. And then he's the one who came up with that brilliant idea of, oh, my boyfriend buys me, hakuna maisha ilinunuliwa. Ilikuwa nini tu. Tuliandika script mzuri sana, by the way. It's old. And we went and we acted. Oh my God, kumbe I can act. Hiyo siku nilijua naweza act. Wewe. Because the company that hired me for that, they the cars I was rolling with in Ghana, bana wewe. Unaweza fikiri ni bola, proper. The whole entire time I was in Ghana, they provided it. Nilikuwa na magari Ghana, unaweza fikiri bana we. They provided and I was let me tell you. No wonder like your story niliweka vizuri. And I was pretending proper attitude. Now he cannot afford this house. He's going to buy an apartment instead because that is what he can afford. Akuna. It was just a deal. And he made money too. And he made good money too. Because we were doing it together. He made a lot of money. And then, I had to pretend like he's the husband of my youth, whatever. And I called him, babe, hey, I can create a scene. Ui! Sasa zingine naangalia hiyo video nacheka peke yangu, nasema Mungu wangu. We! And people believed it. And I don't know why people did not. Because immediately after that, I came back to Kenya, not even a month after, is when I made the video of I broke up with a Ghanaian man. Because I had to, nilikuwa nimechoka na hiyo narrative. Nilikuwa nimechoka na kila mtu kufikiria mimi nimeolewa na sijui Ghana manakaje. I've never been married, man. Not even to a Ghanaian guy. Jesus. Hey, nilienda nikaweka hakuna mtu alikuwa anasikia story. Alikuwa anasema mprudiane tu. As if tulikuwa pamoja. God. When I gave birth, still, because I was in my 4th year, I gave birth. And unfortunately for me, I had to jump ship into working. Yeah, I had to provide for myself and my daughter immediately. So I started working 3 months after my daughter got here, and I never stopped. Because I had to provide. Unfortunately, I had to provide. There is nobody else who would have provided for me or for her. And I did not have space to go, at the time, I did not have space to go back to school. And I just kept working. And I worked very odd jobs, to be honest, at the time, that required a lot of my attention. So, after working, I did, aside from kusimama kwa supermarket, I did that a lot. I worked with Super Sports, I worked with some magazines, like it was just a bunch of, I was everywhere, really. And I had to work. And then after, my daughter was, I think, a year old at the time, or rather 2, around that time. That is when I started having interest when it comes to makeup. And because majority of the time when I'm home, when I'm in the house, I would go to YouTube. I was not a social media person, per se. So I would just go to YouTube. And I would watch sometimes vlogs, but they were not interesting me much. And then I bumped into a makeup tutorial. And I was like, she looks good. I love the after. When she was done doing the makeup, I was like, oh, wow. So you can actually change and become this other person. Wow. And then all of a sudden, after that video, they just kept coming. I would scroll it as a makeup tutorial, a makeup, and beauty. And every time I watched it, I would just want to know more and know more and know more. And majority of the time, I would just watch, not practice. Just watch it and leave it there. Watch and leave it. But then it attracted me. There's something about just changing your face that attracted me so much. And then I started like, okay, I got an eye pencil and a very fake concealer because, you know, eyebrows. I wanted to know how to do my eyebrows. I was like, wow, I love the way they look. Okay, let me practice with this. Then I started practicing. I'm getting it. I'm like, oh, okay, let me go to the next one. Eyeshadow, I don't know, foundation. That is how I started doing. I had not done makeup before. And if you were to tell me that I was to become a makeup artist in the future, takwambia wewe kwenda huko. Yo, I did not. So I started, I would watch, I started practicing. And then there is this page called Glam Life on Facebook. So I would practice and post my pictures there and be like, oh, I practiced how to do this today. They would be there, oh my God, wow. And then kidogo, mtu amejua bana. She knows how to do these things. They would ask me, hey, give us a tutorial. I'm like, tutorial? Aje na mimi ndo nimeanza hii kitu. I don't know how to do tutorials. Then I would start doing tutorials on Facebook. I would just post on that Glam Life page. They're like, okay, enda YouTube. Saa hiyo YouTube ninajua ni kuwatch, si kuweka. I know how to watch YouTube. Hata sasa siko najua ati like if you can subscribe to somebody's channel inamaanisha upi uko na channel. Siko najua hiyo. Nilikuwa nasema mtu anaanzishaje channel? How do you create a channel? But for me to start posting. Then my friend was like, oh, have you ever subscribed to anybody's channel? I said, yeah. Then you have a YouTube channel. I said, oh, where? Akaniambia hapa. Click on that. This in the profile yako. I said, oh, okay. So just post there. Amesema just post. Mimi naye nachukua video. Naweka kwanza time aki Mungu wangu aki enyewe I was green and very broke by the way. Very very broke. Nachukua simu. Niyo thankfully nilikuwa na Infinix. Ka Infinix kingine hapo. Naenda naweka. Unajua hiyo time kulikuwa na juala. Unajua juala. We had jualas. I would put it on the window. I would tie it there, the phone. Bora imenifesi naeka simu, naeka kiti mbele hiyo. Background venye nakaa ikae. I don't care. So I was, my living arrangements, oh my God, I was so bad. Background inakaa sijui aje, I did not care. Yeah, nimeweka simu. I am doing a tutorial. You said tutorial Abi? Okay, here's your tutorial. Then I would sit there in front. I did not even know where to place the products. I would just be doing, because I had watched tutorials on YouTube. I was trying to imitate them. Sikuwa naelewa watu wanafanya vitu gani. Bora umeka product umeonyesha. And then I would sit there. I don't know how to angle, nothing. Na kwambi, the first video I did, it was an eyebrow tutorial. Niliweka camera. Alafu I was doing this the whole time. Sasa chenye watu wanaona ni they were just seeing my forehead. Who am I? Nilipost. I posted. I was very proud of myself. I said, aha, you said tutorial here. Is it not a tutorial? Then I told my people from I posted a tutorial. They would go, oh my God, what a checker. They used to laugh at me. And then that time, because at the time, yeah, what was trending was like when somebody was doing it, they would do a talk-through video. Not voiceovers. Talk-through. Na mimi napenda kuongea. I would talk. It's an eyebrow tutorial, but vitu nimeongea hapo ndani. Very unnecessary. Then they started saying, oh, you speak like DJ Afro. Oh, hey, oh, sijui mashabu. Oh, inalitusiwa bwana. The first videos, matusi. They were coming at me. The way I talk, the way everything. And I was just there like, But you guys said you wanted a tutorial. What is this now? But then that time, because I did not care for nothing. Because the time I was working with Pulse magazine. Nilikuwa nimefutwa. Akimi nilikuwa napenda kufutwa. Naona. Nilifutwa nimekaa. I don't have a job. Your time sasa. I'm very depressed. I don't know what to do because my sister was tired of me living in the house. That time, where I will come back to that story. But nimeweka up my tutorials zangu until later on. Thankfully, I found my people eventually, at least 1, 2, 3 people. There's a friend of mine. We were together in Loreto in high school. So she would come and say, Ebu try adding music to your background. I said, oh, okay, this is new. I don't know. How do you add music? I don't know. I went, when I was editing the video, I put music. It was louder than my... It was so loud. And I posted. And I said, mulisema music. Is this not music? What I say? Mimi, because I did not care for nothing when I was starting YouTube. Hey, my Lord. I did not care for it at all. Okay. Nikaweka music. Akasema pana bana. Like they would come. I think most of the people, when you walikuwa watch your time, the beginning, walikuwa watch kuni correct. Not like to watch like they were just watching to correct me. So she would watch, no, like reduce your music, you reduce it. It's your voice that's supposed to be. I said, oh, okay. And then I did that. Then they come again and like, hey, thumbnail. What the hell is a thumbnail? You know? And it sounded so fancy when they were telling me that time. Oh, it sounded like such a fancy word. I went and Googled thumbnail. Oh, it's the picture you put before. I said, okay. I did not know it had to be correlated to the video that you're doing. Mimi naweka picha. So nasema thumbnail. Naweka picha yoyote yenye nitapata. Naweka picha. That is the description of a thumbnail. Okay, it's a picture you put. I said, oh, put a picture there, whatever. Wanashanga it's a makeup tutorial, lakini picha yenye unaona hapo. Kwa thumbnail yako? What do you mean? But you say thumbnail now. Say, no, like, hiyo yenye umefanyia hiyo makeup. I'm like, oh. And then I go again and do it. This time, no, it's a picture of makeup. Okay. I take a selfie of me after I'm done with the makeup. Na hiyo selfie yenye haionyeshi hata makeup. Like, you know how girl things, you're just taking selfies and it's not the makeup that I'm showing in the picture. Nimeweka sema picture hiyo makeup yenye nimefanya. And maybe I think it was so amusing to people that I was so ignorant of how it works. So they would watch because I'm ignorant, not because of anything else. And I was like, no, but like, at least show the makeup as is. And then Momo is the one who helped me with the thumbnails, by the way, because he, told me about Canva. And even when he told me about Canva at the time, I said, there, you put your picture like this, and then you caption it. Then I would put a caption that is so big. Hata your makeup yenyewe haoni. The caption ndio inaonekana. Do you know, this struggle was almost a 2-year struggle of me just trying to figure out how YouTube works. And it took me 2 years to get to 1,000 subscribers. Naona sasa niko na 800 sijui. 1,000 to miaka mbili hivi. Because who knew me before then? Nobody knew me from not even any social media platform. Wanashangaa ni nani huyu ametokezea wapi? Anafanya makeup tutorial na forehead inaonekana. Au kuna haja na mimi? 2 years. And I was just first you time sikuwa najua nini na attract audience. Because that time I was just very, I was like a kid again in the country. You're just starting to experience makeup. Now you're very excited now. You have discovered a new talent, a new skill. You just want to overdo it. I would draw peacocks, cities on my eyes and post it. You're the troll nilikuwa nafanyia watu, imagine. How to do a city who wants to do that? Mimi sikuwa najua YouTube was going to amount to something. I had no idea. I was just doing it because now it is like, you know how you found a new social media platform. You're very excited. You don't know, I don't even know how YouTube pays. Nothing. Me, I was just posting because it's now a new social media platform and now I have a new skill. Dopamine iko juu. I'm just going. Mamangu ananiuliza, wewe, when are you getting your life together? Don't worry. My sister alichoka na mimi. Akasema, and I was very depressed at the time, by the way. Very, like I was in a sad space. Very sad space. Kama niambia nijitafutie nyumba sijui nini. I did not have money, nothing. How am I going to get a new house? Wapi? Nimeenda, I don't know where I had gone. Kurudi jioni. Nyumba haina kitu. Hata curtain hakuna. Ni mattress huko bedroom yangu. Landlord akakuja, utalipa? Kaambia mimi sasa sina pesa. I'm giving you 5 days. Natoa pesa 5 days. Ndio nikaenda nikaanzia kwa nini tangaje hizo nyumba. Not a bedsitter, this other one, single room. Where you have to share washrooms outside. Me and my daughter, sina hata gas, hata nini kanunua nini after some time. That time when I got into that single room, because nilipia 6,000. Hiyo ni rent na deposit. Sasa nimekaa, hakuna kitu, ni mattress na mimi na mtoto wangu. Nashanga tutakuwa nakula aje kwa nyumba. Sina hata utensils, nothing. And then, na hakuna mtu anajua, hata even my mom does not know. Do you know what I was doing? I never imagined, like, have you ever looked at yourself and thought like it could never happen to you, and then it happened? Nilianza kufuria tu kwa plot najua. I could not even believe it. Even me, sometimes I say it, I'm like, it does not make sense at all. Because sometimes I would leave my daughter with the landlady, because she used to live in the same plot, but a different house. Alikuwa anamrumianga that landlady. Because sometimes she would see sina food. Nikuta na mtoi, anaita mtoto wangu, wanakula huko. Na hiyo time bado nafanya, unajua bado hii time ile bado nafanya tu YouTube yangu. Nilikuwa na rooftop. Kwa single room sasa, it's dark. It was dark and very moldy. Oh, nilikuwa nimejaa cockroach. I don't know if cockroach ilikuwa imetoka, but anyway, nenda huko rooftop. Time sasa nimeboeka kabisa. I did not have no sense of nothing that time. No shame. Shame was out completely. So nakaa hapo, mtu anaona manguo zimeanikwa huko nyuma. Na sasa mimi ndio nilikuwa nimezianika hizo nguo by the way. Zimeanikwa huko nyuma ndio background yangu ya video. Mtoto wangu anapita hapo, ni mchafu, unajua hizo maji zenye zimemwagika kwa binye umehang nguo, alafu the water that is down there. Amecheza hapo madipado, anakaa na ndiye anapita kwa background ya video yangu, na mimi sijali. Na hiyo video nitapost. I was just there. I was very confused. I didn't know what was happening in my life. I thought I was cast or something. Because why is everything not working? You know, a very learned person. Uko hapa kwa single room, sijui unafanya kazi gani that make sense. Nilikuwa najidharau by the way. Nilikuwa najidharau your time. But then one day, Shiko, my friend, akasema, another Du Bois. You know, that is where we buy fake makeup. Kununua makeup. And she's going to do a vlog, yeah? Du Bois. I said, okay, sawa. Tuko nafaa kwenda na yeye. Si kwenda. Then I said, me, I'll do a vlog separately. Yeah, Du Bois. So she did a vlog at Du Bois. It did very well, by the way. You're buying. I did a vlog. I did not care much for it, because I didn't find anything. Then, so when I was doing the tutorial of Du Bois, the products I bought from Du Bois, then I did a tutorial. It was just there, by the way. Ilikuwa tu. Then I did a tutorial of it. Kumbe video imeenda na message. That was the first time we got 10,000. When you say 10,000 views, ilikuwa ni kama gold. Where? To me, Bishtanga Shiko, come. You know your video has 10,000. I said, no way. No, for real. Go and look at that video. Then I saw 10,000. I said, oh, nikaanza kupata to subscribers. But then subscribers nilikuwa napata si wa Kenya. They're asking like, we don't understand the language you're speaking in. Could you speak in English? I'm like, who the hell are you people? I'm doing a Du Bois ya Kenya, mnaniuliza maneno English. Then I said, okay, let me just listen to these people, because I used to listen to my comment section a lot. I'll do a video for you guys in English. And then another video, English videos, zikakaka hapo zilikuwa tu. Then one video that I had, na hiyo sana I had filmed it in my friend's house, not even my, nilikuwa nimetoka tumeenda kwa rafiki yangu anaitwa Kibibi. Nikafanya video kwa kitchen yake. In her kitchen. Nimeweka simu tena kwa window kama kawaida yangu. In her kitchen, I've done a video proper. Okay. Nikamaliza. Nikasahau hiyo video kwa simu, sikuwa edit. It was just there. Then kuna time I was shooting a video, simu ikaanza kuniambia memory full. then I was talking to Kibibi, I'm like, hii simu yangu sijui ni mbaya bana. Kaniambia na ile video yenye ulikuwa umefanya ulipost. Nikamwambia bana hapana. Ati si uedit hiyo basi upost kwanza ndio film nyingine. Kaniambia okay sawa. I edited, I posted that video. Video 1 week iko na 100,000 views. 1 week. Guess who's, because Shiko used to look at we used to look at each other's channel a lot because we were like, ndo tumeanza fresh. Kanipigia video yako iko na 100,000 views. Nikasema 100,000 views in 1 week. I said, ain't no way. Ain't no way. Atuweka monetization. Sijui kuweka monetization. Akaniambia. I said, oh, okay. I was almost giving up on that kind of thing. I was almost giving up on that YouTube as well. I was like, oh, hii nenda wapi? Because my mother, that time, let me tell you, kama kuna insults, especially from my mom. And I know she would watch this video and scold me for it, but anyway. She used to call me useless. Oh my God. Because I was deep in my depressive episodes. Akuwa nashangaa like, how can you, who's supposed to be a lawyer by now, be living such a life? You have wasted your life. You're very useless. You're very hurtful words, by the way. Very, very hurtful. And then I was deep in my depressive. Imagine me. I almost malized myself, to be honest. That time before I actually posted, it was literally a week before I posted that video. And I remember my friend Mary comes into this story this time because that time I was planning to off myself. Vibaya sana. Nilikuwa nimenunua paka kamba. Nikapigia Mary because I saw Mary had a similar story almost. Then I called Mary nikamwambia I have a daughter, I don't want to go. Even with the other statement. And she knew what I was talking about immediately. Then she came where I was at. Because that time I remember I had just come back from seeing my mom. I had gone to leave my daughter there. Nikaambiwa how I'm useless and, I'm a good for nothing human being. And it hurt me so bad because I was already feeling bad and I was already feeling worthless. So that just added salt to the injury. And I came back to Nairobi. And that is when I called Mary. And Mary came. And she took me to her house. That night we were together in the house. We just, talking. Kawaida. I stayed there for like 3 days. And then that is when I wanted to film. And then nikapata storage imejaa. That is when I called Kibibi. And then she reminded me of that video and then I posted it. Mary kept telling me, this YouTube is going to be huge for you. Her and another friend of mine called Sharon again. They used to tell me, I thought you'll be getting millions of views on YouTube. And I'm looking at them, I'm like, are you okay in the head? Are you guys okay? They'll be just like, yeah, amen. That time you say amen, but deep down, you're like, please. That is when now the physical address thing happened and then I started getting paid. And then pesa kidogo, by the way. But started getting paid. Watch out, the third salary I had from YouTube. You know what I did? I can meme me. Hey, blind ambition. That is me. Nilienda, nikaangalia nyumba. Because nilikuwa na mimi kasingo nimekaa na mtoto wangu nikasema hapana. This is not me. That is not how my life is supposed to be. This is not my life. I don't care how the money is going to come, but I'm not living here anymore. Nikaenda, tukatafuta nyumba. Let me tell you, expensive as 2-bedroom house. Looking great. And I had the rent. They told me the amount. I said, don't worry, I'm coming back. I'll come back. Very confidently. I'll come back. Okay. Then I went back to stay at my sister's. Rookie mistake. I went back to stay at my sister's because I had to go to Rwanda. At the time, I had gotten a job offer in Rwanda for representing. I had to do an interview in Rwanda, right? Nikachukua kibasiki yangu. Rwanda. I had to leave my daughter somewhere, so I left my daughter with my sister. And I had to send, that time, had an agreement with my sister, I would be sending money to her. She goes and pays. If I stay in Rwanda too long, she pays for that house I was in, that single room of mine. Nimeenda Rwanda week 1, week 2. It was like a whole vetting process, man. Almost a month. Na sikupata kazi. Vetting. So I stayed there. And then I stayed for like almost 2 months in Rwanda. Then I came back to Kenya. Come back to Kenya, sijalipa rent. Nilikuwa na nimesahau story yake. Nimeenda. Because I'm coming back. I had forgotten I had not paid rent, by the way. Nimerudi, nimeingia kwa hili kasingurum kangu, nimekaa. Landlady ameona nimeingia. Akaniuliza, unajua hujalipa rent wewe? Kaambia, nitalipa usijali. Sina kitu. 1 week, 2 weeks. Akaniletea this watu wa chief na nini kunita. Niliwaonea kwa gate. I saw them at the gate. Because my house was in ground floor. No, it was very dark. Ground floor. Then I saw them. Do you know what I did? I packed my few tunguo tangu na mtoto kwa bag. Nikaeka hivi. Nikatoka mbio. I ran away. Unajua run. Waliniona tu nimepewa pita kwa gate. Shwi! Nikapanda bodaboda. Utanishikia wapi? To my sister's house. Thankfully my daughter was at my sister's. Nimeacha everything huko sijalipa rent. And that is when this whole offing myself happened. I was at my sister's when that whole thing happened. And even the 100,000, all of a sudden my YouTube is picking up. And I didn't know. Hey. Because I knew for a fact, have you ever lived in a house and you know they don't want you there? But you don't have any other option. Lazima tu uvumilie. Because she genuinely did not want me in that house. Genuinely. I was a burden to her. And I knew it. But sikuwa na option. Like I did not have any other option. I was just kuvumilia tu. Mara it's paragraph from my mother texting me because my sister told her I don't know what. Like makosa kila siku kuna makosa tu nimefanya. You know? But then I had to vumilia and I vumiliated for a while. When my YouTube was, they did not know my YouTube was picking up. Because at the time everybody had given up on me and my YouTube thing. You know? One day YouTube paid me good money. I saw this money like this. I went and paid for rent immediately. I didn't even care. If next month there's no money, that is iyo ni yake. But right now, there's money for this house. I am going. I went, paid, came back to my sister's, took my because we were sleeping in a small mattress. Took that mattress and my daughter. Nothing. We did not have curtains, nothing in that house. It was so empty, but me and a mattress and my daughter. Then I started with curtains first because, living room at least, so much as 20. Then I started buying things. So every month, and then that is when I would put in work. When it comes to YouTube, I said, so you guys can pay. I put in work. And thankfully, ever since that video, I think that video was my opening. And I would post videos and then all of a sudden, a video has 1 million views. I'm like, no way. Another one, I'm like, oh, wow. And that is how I started buying furniture for my house. All of a sudden, imeja. All of a sudden, my daughter is going to a good school. All of a sudden, now I'm here. Yeah. So that has been my journey for YouTube, to be honest. YouTube was not easy. People see my subscribers and they're like, oh my God, wow. They don't know the struggle. They don't know the struggle. YouTube truly changed my life, to be honest. You know, when I started here, I did not imagine I would grow such an international audience, such a big international audience. Because my audience is huge. And it's so broad. Yeah. And then when I started the tutorials, and then people were, it started by just messages from people. It's like, oh my God, you don't know, you've helped me so much. I now I'm doing very, very well with makeup as a career. 1 person, 2 people, all of a sudden, it's a lot of people. Just saying thank you for changing my life. And then I would look at it and I'm like, oh wow. And then all of a sudden, it is people asking for classes, and not just in Kenya. Different countries. Oh, can you do a class here? Can you do a class here? I'm like, no, but coming to that, it'll be very... They're like, no, don't worry. pay for my flight. I would go do a class, a master class. I've done master classes in countries I never imagined I would ever do a master class. I swear. And people actually come, Nonaja, yo, and I would sit there, I'm like, and then I would do one master class. The next one, oh, come to South Africa, come to, I don't know where, come to Zimbabwe, come to the UK, come to the US, and I'm like, you guys, you know, some of these countries would require a visa and it's a long process. Do you understand that? YouTube has opened a lot of doors, man. A lot of doors. And even from that, I have gotten to meet so many people. So many. And not just in the YouTube space or makeup space. There is one time when this happened in Ghana, actually. I just landed in Ghana, right? While I was checking out. The girl who was doing the checkout knows me from YouTube. Like, oh my God, wow, I know you. I said, from where? YouTube. Oh my God, you've impacted a lot of, especially my sister. She told me about her sister who has now a makeup studio. And then I went and met the sister with her makeup studio. Oh my God, huge makeup studio. Rich person. And it is for makeup. And that girl, my whole trip ever since that time, paid by her. I did not, spending money in Ghana was not, spend what money for what? Sometimes I would go to, imagine, different countries. That was Ghana. There's another time, aside from Ghana, I went to a restaurant and then the chef watches my videos and she's like, it's on the house. I said, I'm not in Kenya, it's a different country. Like, it happened in Rwanda as well. In Uganda, I said, you people, you're spoiling me too much. Like, it has opened a lot of doors. There is this thing I'm supposed to do in Mauritius with a radio station, again, just from YouTube. There is another class I'm supposed to do in South Africa. I don't know when exactly that is going to happen because it's a new school. They're building a school, but then they want me to teach in that school. Again, just from YouTube. And then, as you know, the speech I made. You know, when Google contacted me, I could not believe it. They said, you have to do a speech on behalf of Google at 15. And then they did not say nothing past that. I said, okay, that is okay. Wrote my speech. Then the night before the speech, they're like, it's going to be a state event. I said, what do you mean a state? And then you only have a minute. I said, no, the speech I had written, hey, where? I said, okay. Well, the next day I got to meet, and my speech was very short, but a lot of people resonated with that speech. Like, I became famous for that speech alone. And everybody was just there. Rosina was like in everybody's mouth by the end of that night. Everybody was speaking about Rosina, the president, everybody else. And I was just there. I'm like, it's beautiful. And all because of YouTube, by the way. And there's so many other projects I have been able to do. Even my opening of my studio alone, it was all because of YouTube. Money from YouTube, connections from YouTube. Some things I've done with brands. I've worked with brands in the UK, in the US, because of YouTube. Something I never imagined it would ever happen in my life, to be honest. Right now, I am preparing for a class. I'm hoping it goes through in the UK. Again, because they watched me on YouTube. I have do you know how many international students I teach online? So many. Aside from the numbers, when I started getting students and I decided to invest in teaching makeup, because I knew I was good at doing makeup. But what sold me the most was the teaching aspect of makeup. And I felt like that is a niche that has not been touched by a lot of people. There is a way people do YouTube tutorials, but they don't do it like the way I do. Because I teach. I don't just do, I'm applying foundation here. I teach in detail. And I felt like, yes, YouTube gives me money, but I could actually invest in this as a career and actually teach, have a school to teach makeup. And because I have already branded myself as somebody who teaches makeup, It's very believable. It's a very believable brand, and people can trust me to teach. And I started advertising myself, even on socials. That is when I went to TikTok, yeah, Instagram, not as much, but then I started advertising myself as a makeup teacher. It was just from YouTube. That is when I started advertising myself. Because I don't even call myself a makeup artist. I call myself a makeup teacher. Or the best makeup educator worldwide. That is what I say. Yeah. And I branded myself as such. The best makeup educator world. I teach in detail. And I decided to make it a career where I would open a school, get students, both physical students and online students. And I have a whole red card where I advertise, just in case, YouTube money, it comes and it goes. Let's just be honest. It's not like a consistent source of income. Some months are better than others. Even sometimes you can be very consistent and still not get as much money, because it's just content creation. So I said I had to look for an alternative, just in case. And for me, that alternative was having a school. And right now I focus more on online classes because they pay more. I love money, like I have to get money, yeah, because they pay more and it's easier because you're just in the house, And right, I don't know if you have noticed, spaces in Nairobi, no wonder malls ziko empty. They're expensive. It's very, spaces can literally make you go into debt. And I said, it was too much. It was too much. So I decided to focus more on online classes and doing master classes, like 1 day, 2 day master classes, which I can very easily do. You know how somebody can come to you and inquiry, hi Rosina, how much do you charge for bridals? Mina tuma red card. I send the red card, and then he's like, oh, I want to book for my cousin. My cousin is having a wedding on this date. Are you going to be available? I said, yes, I am going to be available that date. And he said, okay, so how is the booking process? I tell him, I say, 50% deposit. Brilliant. And this guy, Hakai, alituma deposit, kwanza kaongeza ya juu. Nikasema, hey, what an amazing client. I was very happy. I said, beautiful client. Beautiful. It was like, I don't know how many months before the wedding itself. It was a time before you time your wedding. Haya kidogo mtu alishalipa deposit, so unajua mimi huyo ni client, sasa siwezi hata muongelesha vibaya. All of a sudden, because he was in the US. When I come to Kenya, like, I would love to, for us to go on a date. I said, no, you are my client now. I can't do that. I don't want to talk about that right now. Okay, can we talk after the wedding? I said, maybe. I was trying to keep it very professional, yeah? And then kidogo, he would, like, a lot of things happened with that guy, by the way. I would say post something, because it was my business WhatsApp. I don't post personal things on my business number. So I would post, say, maybe a masterclass, but uso yangu inaonekana, hey, you're very beautiful, you look so pretty. Hey, naangalia huyu ni client wa wapi huyu? But ninajua wedding ni ya cousin yake, si yake. Now that time I was single, by the way. I'm like, okay. Thank you. I would just be saying thank you because siku nataka kunini vitu paka huyu lazima nilipe pesa zangu zote kwanza. He would compliment me here once in a while. And then that time comes now, time nearing the wedding. Then he tells me he's coming to Kenya. I said, oh, people, karibu Kenya. He comes to Kenya. He's like, oh, the wedding is going to be at this and this. Like he was looking for every opportunity to talk to me. The wedding is going to be this place. Are you going to charge for transport? Because normally, yeah, I naekanga transport ndani ya package yangu. But sasa, huyu nikana toboka. Nikamwambia, hey, I'll charge 5,000 for transport, And then he sends 7. I said, hey, hala, huku ni wapi? Nilikula siku by the way, but anyway. He sends money, and I'm just there. Like, hey. Very nice. Finding good clients is hard, but this one is an amazing client. Nikakaka, and he's like, oh, and then like 3 days before the wedding, he's asking me like, oh, would you need like lunch while you're at the wedding, whatever. I said, no, I just do the makeup and then leave. I don't stay. Oh, like, oh, okay, nice. But like, do you have breakfast for that day? And they said, no, I'll eat at home, don't worry. Okay, tell me, okay, let me know when you get there. So at least, because I normally ask for my balance before I even start the makeup. Once I am at the vicinity like this, send me my balance, right? So I got there that day, very early in the morning. It was 5. Then I told him, hey, I'm here. I'm ready to set up. Since the balance, akaongeza 10,000, 1, 2, 3 mpaka 10 juu. I said, hey, kijana, hiyo makeup nilifanya roho safi. Sijawahi fanya makeup vizuri hivyo wewe. Hiyo makeup roho safi. I was very happy doing them. Like I was just smiling. And then I met the bride, very beautiful woman, and very kind. I said, hii familia iko kind-hearted. Hey, hii familia iko kind. Hii familia is a very good family, man. Nikafanya makeup. It was bride na maids wake 4 peke yake. Mpaka na bride. Maliza bride, amazing. Bride akasema, but hey, do you charge extra for touch-ups? Because I need you to stay around. I need to change my look for jioni, for the evening thing. I said, hey, I don't normally stay around. My makeup stays the whole day. I said, no, I want something different. I said, okay, yeah, I do charge to. And then she said, okay, I'll pay you. Don't worry. I said, okay, cool. Si bride amenini, nikamuuliza venue iko wapi, kwa mwezi niacha kwa nyumba peke yangu. Mkishamaliza, venue iko wapi? Nilimtangulia by the way. Because you know how alilili mavitu hizo vitu za asubuhi zinafanyika. Nimeenda kwa kanisa. Because I'm not part of this whole ceremony. Nimejieka nyuma. Na I had to carry my makeup box, unfortunately, everywhere I went. Because sasa nimeweka makeup box yangu nyuma ya kiti ya kanisa, vile nyuma ya kanisa zinakwanga. Nikaweka. Nimekaa chini na ngoja wedding. Kwa sababu lazima ningoje mpaka wamalize church ndio niende nifanye hiyo the other look. Ndio sasa groom anafaa kuingia. Kidogo. Because I had seen this guy. I know his profile picture vizuri sana. Najua naona kimutu kinaingia. So you're very curious when you see grooms and wanakingianga. You want to see who the hell is this. I went, I looked. Tukaonana ana kwa ana. I looked at him. He looked like he was coming in. I was looking. Now, then I went to my phone. Nikaangalia profile picture. Then I turned again. And then now he's pretending he's shy. All of a sudden now he's looking down. I mean, now all of a sudden he's looking down. And he was walking majestically. Ameng'ara. He's the groom. And I'm like, am I seeing my own things? It is your wedding. Your wedding, kijana. Wedding ni yako. I was in shock, man, the whole time I'm here. And the worst part about this whole thing is I had to stay. My bride kwanza vinalingia. Mimi nimekaa kiti ya mwisho. Nje kiti ya mwisho kabisa huko. Sasa kiingia mimi ndio tunaonana wa kwanza. Bride she's very excited. Oh my God, she's an amazing woman. And you can just tell, kind-hearted, beautiful. And I'm just saying hi to her, and like the whole scenario is just playing in my head. I'm like, oh my God, do you know what you just got yourself into? But I'm sat there, and I'm looking, and then kanisa ikaisha. Photo shoot. Hey, my Lord. Bride, very innocent. Nafaa kumchangia makeup, si ndio? That was before the photo shoot. Now aende for that. Nakwanga ni nini hiyo? That celebration after. Wakapiga picha ya hii look. Wakamaliza. Then I had to change the whole look again, by the way. Change the whole thing again. She was done. She changed because she was changing into a different gown to go to her reception. Yeah. I may change. Now I have to take, I normally take videos after now they are dressed up. taking my videos. Girl, let me introduce you to my husband. She calls the guy. Kijana anakuja. Hey, this is Rosina, my makeup artist. Yeah, I remember I booked her for you. She's very good. I like the work she's done. Hi, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. So utadu. The whole time it was so awkward. I felt umaisikia ni kama kuna kitu inatembea kwa mwili yako. Unawashwa. I couldn't wait to get out of that. Ooh, I was waiting to get out of that place. And then the bride is like, how much was the balance again? The guy is like, but I paid. And I know, I told her to do a change of look for me. Then he asked me, how much is the balance? I told him. He adds another one, ajuu tena. Mbele yangu. Hivi. And then you know what he texts me? I'll talk to you later. Hey! On your wedding, kijana. I went home, nikasema kuna pesa ya bure hapa, nimekula, but hapana. I blocked his number. And then I don't know where he got some Kenya, because hiyo time alikuwa anatumia number yenye kuna +1 ya US. Then he got a Kenyan number. He texted me again. Like, I'm sorry for the ambush. I did not mean for you to find out that way. I'm so sorry. What can I do to make it up? Audacity. It's the audacity for me. Then I told him, genuinely speaking, F you. Even uliandika F you. Kwa capital letters nikaweka exclamation kama 100. Na nikablock tena. Nikasema ni shetani, I swear to God. On your wedding, kijana. Like, if you have that much guts, hey, jamani, mbona unaoa? Sukae tu. But I've seen days. My love life is, it needs a whole reality show by itself. Financially, I was not very disciplined, even with the YouTube success and everything else. And there is one project I invested in, one bad investment that got me there. I invested in this project so much so, everybody who was working with me trusted me enough to just give me things, you know, because I think I have spoken to you briefly about the projects. Yeah, there was a production I was doing, and I invested a lot of money, my money. I had an investor who invested, the very beginning of it, invested a bit of money into it. And because I already had created this very positive rapport, with my producers, there were camera people who would lend, cameras, hire rather, for production and stuff. And we were deep into it. And then the investor disappeared. I think it was month 3. It was a she. She disappeared. Like, no trace. Calls, nothing. Remember, you've only hired these things, you paid 50%. You've not paid the total amount. Some 50, sometimes even 20%. Because they trusted me that much to just give me things, And the investor has disappeared. You have invested some of your, like all of your, the money you had. And you have already gone deep into the production part. And then all of a sudden, investor ameenda, uko hapo, and you're alone. Now everybody is owing, hujalipa hii, like calls from no, like they were like this. See camera, see light, see venue. Hujamaliza kulipa hii, hujamaliza kulipa hii. I had to stop production. Hujamaliza hii, hujamaliza ile, hujamaliza. And because it's already done. We've already used your equipment, we've already done this, we've already done that. You need your money. I don't have your money. And they wrote it down because they were taking me. Nilikuwa napelekwa polisi. I had a studio in Kilimani where I was teaching. Nilifungiwa. Why? They auctioned my things. Every single one of them. zikachukuliwa. Umaisimama ukiangalia vitu zako zikienda. Umesimama tu unaangalia, you're watching. Because there's nothing you can do. Because you have to pay your debt. And it was a lot of it. It was a lot of it. Investment, I learned a lot. That period of my, I learned. Yo, kila mtu amenitoka. Because it was a team. But you're the leader. Wendo umebakishwa na mizigo. Kila mtu amekutoka. They're not even picking your calls anymore. I had to sit down with them, draft a contract and a payment plan. 1 year, about 7 months payment plan. I lost everything already, but I have to pay. Because it was a debt in millions, you know? And you're on YouTube, you're trying, like, you've lost everything. You don't have the morale to do anything, to be honest. Even posting. And then the money YouTube is paying you, all of it, you're doing what? You're paying debts. Every month I was paying debts in hundreds of thousands, man. Every single month. And your time hata utaki kuona mtu akine, because now you're doing it because you need to pay a debt. You're not doing it for yourself. I don't have the motivation to do anything in life. All I'm thinking about is the debt. All I'm thinking about is that. And it put me in such a dark space. Oh my God. Hata siku nimemaliza kulipa hiyo debt. Because now, hata rent yangu sina kwa sababu and I'm alone. Like, hakuna mtu naweza pigia nimwambie so nisaidie. Because the debt ni pesa mingi. So nisaidie 100,000. Who? Hakuna. Nikabaki hapo nikilipa bana, nikalipa. Nikakosa, like, nikashindwa na kila kitu. Including rent. Kuna time mpaka nikafungiwa nyumba. Na hakuna mtu naweza pigia nimwambie. Because that time, even relationships, like, because nasambaratika. Kila kitu, friendships, everything was gone. So just me and even my, like, you know how people are used to seeing you so successful and nilikuwa na pesa. Money too. It was nothing to me, man. Money. And I would provide for everybody in my life, man. I was a giver. But then now they see you and hata rent pia unashindwa kulipa. Madharauliwa. Ile madharau utaonyesha uzamini. Oh. I felt so embarrassed. How am I here? And I wish I could say, like, I saw it coming, but I did not see it coming at all. I did not anticipate for that to happen. You know, so I could have planned ahead. I did not anticipate. I did not even imagine it would get me there. I was so excited for it. I thought, like, it was only going to be good things. Nikalipa den mpaka ikafika point I stopped filming altogether. Nilikuwa nimeshindwa. Nilikuwa nashika hivi simu natetemeka. Nashika kamera natetemeka. Nalia. I used to cry every single day. I could not get myself to film. Like, it got to that point. I could not. Not because I can't. My body was rejecting it. My mind was rejecting it. Everything in me was rejecting it. And I could not. I used to cry. I had the worst anxiety ever. And I swear to God, if that did not kill me, I don't think anything else would ever. You know, there's a time I stayed in the house for over 7 months, not stepping out of the house at all, because I was ashamed. There were so many feelings of shame. Because now I was this mighty Rosina, now it's just nobody. Mungenipoteza. It was a lot. It was dark. It was dark. Like, I've been in dark spaces before, but that was dark. People, you know, from the outside looking in, they think you're lazy. Because in that moment itself, they think you're very lazy because you don't have motivation to do anything, to be honest. I did not have motivation. I did not. Even to wake up, I was struggling to live, to stay alive. I was really struggling to stay alive. Because the thoughts in my head were dangerous. And I was so scared of being alone. And you know the time, like, you're going through all this and then you have a child who's looking up to you. And you have to provide. She has to have food, she has to have school, and you have to present this. I was very performative then. have to smile and just, engage and be present as a mother. And deep down, you're the one who needs help, especially mentally, emotionally. Oh my God. It was a lot. And for the first time, I knew I needed therapy. I never imagined I would ever do therapy. For the first time in my life, I knew I needed it. So I went and got myself a therapist. For free. I went and looked for free therapists. So I did. I looked for free therapists. And at that time, I got one, but then alikuwa sijui hakuwa ananisaidia. So I went and spoke to a friend of mine. Her name is, not a friend, it's a stranger actually. That time I was on TikTok, and then I went live. And unfortunately, I don't know what happened. I think I was so overwhelmed. People could just see tears here. They were not rolling down, but I could not even speak. I was stuck. Like the phone was here. I was just stuck on the live like this, and they could see tears. And Helena was the first one to see it. And then I said, bye, guys, because I didn't want people to see me crying on live. So I ended the live. Helena looked for me. It was a stranger. I had never met Helena. She was just a stranger on TikTok. She was like, are you okay? Then I said, genuinely speaking, I'm not. Then she left her number. I called her. We spoke for a long time, a very long time. She said, okay, I'm paying for a therapist for you. So Helena paid for my therapist. And I got a therapist. I started my sessions with a therapist. And then I was telling her how I was very anxious when it comes to filming content and the space I was in generally. And it helped a lot because she told me, the therapist actually recommended I stop filming entirely. In that space we call hibernation, where you just still. It's not like nothing is happening, you're just still. It is time, because now you're crashing out, your body is tired, your mind is tired. You need to breathe. You need to come back to yourself. And I stayed in that space. I was not filming, I was not posting, I was not doing anything. I was just there. And funny, I have never had social anxiety in my life. That time I did. So I got an event with Maybelline. They invited. That was the first time I was getting out of the house to go to. And I spoke to my therapist about it. I've never been scared to step out like that, especially. I love dressing up and looking good and going out, I spoke to me. It took a lot in me to get out of that house to go to that event. I went to that event. My legs were shaking, even walking. It has never happened to me before. And I kept doing this because my legs were shaking a lot. Mtu anaweza fikia I'm on drugs or something. Like, I kept doing this. The whole guy, I was so anxious. And that is only just to be seen by people. And I don't know how I succeeded in finishing the event. I went back home. And then she said, it's okay, now let's do something. Get yourself out there, like slowly but surely. That is how I started getting like, hey, but rock bottom. And then I think that period of just stillness, yeah. And I felt like I was lacking purpose in my life. That is why I was just in a very dark space. I lacked purpose. Because YouTube was not motivating for me anymore. It was more of a punishment. When I got there, it was more of a... And nobody would... Like, you've gotten yourself to over 800,000 subscribers. Why are you now giving up? But to me, it felt like hell posting. Because the anxiety, everything that... And then numbers. I don't want to check numbers because now numbers just remind me of... I was tired of chasing numbers. I was so tired of chasing numbers. I started YouTube not because of numbers. I started this because I just enjoyed the art of posting, But now it has gotten to a point where I'm chasing numbers and I have to constantly look analytics and now you need to pay a debt. Your money is down. You understand? Like, it took a toll on me. And I sat in my own space in that stillness for a very long time. And then eventually, because I kept trying, because my therapist told me, like, just look at life as if you're just starting, not starting again, just starting. You don't know anything. You don't know anything yet. Just look at it that way. So I tried a lot of things when I was there. I tried doing this, I tried doing that, I tried doing until, because I've always wanted to go back to school. Yeah. I kept telling myself, my worry was, going back to school, I have to pay for school fees because I have to pay it myself. And I did not have money, right? Because now I was done for. And that was another issue. And I said, who is going to pay for the school fees? Because I don't have the money, right? But then it was a Tuesday. Was it a Tuesday? Yeah, a Tuesday morning. I woke up. I dressed up. I called my mom. I told her, naenda shule. Naenda kufanya. I'm going to register. I don't know, but I'm going to talk to them. Whichever outcome I find, it is okay. But I am going. Kasema, okay, sawa. Then I went. And then I went there and I said, I'm coming back to school 11 years later. And then I was there. Thankfully, it was the office of the dean. The dean was not around. So the guy told me, tia yako nayo ni ngumu. Nikamwambia, tunajua sasa nini imechange. The whole syllabus has changed. There's new courses that you have to do, unfortunately, even if you are in fourth year. I said, oh. Kanambia, yeah, but write a letter. Kanipatia. I wrote a letter. When I was writing that letter, I was shaking. I wrote a letter. And I said, okay, let's just wait for the response we see. But then they did respond like 2 weeks later. And then they said, I'm approved to come back. But there's so many things I'll have to learn again. And then I went and I saw the director of what, because the dean was not still around. Then she was a lovely woman, by the way, very lovely. And she saw my grades. And they were good grades. So she saw my grades. She was looking at my grades. Ulifika fourth year. Nikamwambia, hey, no kamaliza. I had done. Imagine, it's funny because I came back the next year to do the exams. Sikuwa nimesomea, but nilifanya exams. So she had the results zangu zote za exams. But sikuwa na cut mark. Kaangalia akasema, wow, ulimaliza mpaka exams? Nikamwambia, hey. Kama ni cut mark ya fourth year ndio una. But there's some courses you need to do. I said, okay. Because I wanted to do my master's eventually. So akasema, you'll have to do these courses first before you do the master's. I said, okay. It's okay. I can do it. I was so, all of a sudden, there was this new excitement that just came over me. It's like, I don't know, this going back to school has given me this new perspective of life. Let me tell you, yeah? I feel like I have purpose again. Like, there's something I'm looking forward to. That I had lacked for a very long time. And all of a sudden now, I'm excited to just do things. Nowadays, I'm just happy to do things. Like anything that I'm just happy to do it. Because I feel like there's new purpose. I feel like, yeah. I've come to understand everything I was looking for outside, it has always been in me. There are things I've always had within me that I kept chasing for over and over and over again. Belonging, I don't know what. And the one thing I have learned, sometimes when you think you're in this negative space and you're thinking you're not loved, it is not about you not being loved. There are people that love you dearly. You need to put a name to it. You need to go back and seek that which made you feel that or be in that space. If, for instance, you're not feeling loved by, say, your parents, you need to put a name to it. It's, I'm feeling disappointed by so and so. I'm feeling not loved by so and so. Don't generalize it and just put it as, I am not loved. You are. The people that love you very, very dearly. And I've come to, during this whole process, I've met amazing people. And they do love me. And that I know. Now I know. Because that time I was very doubtful because I was just in the negative mindset of, I don't, and I'm chasing and I'm chasing. sometimes you just have to go and look back, because some things, they're just based off of your triggers, based off of your trauma. It's not the reality as is. It's your trauma speaking, not you. It's not the reality. It's just your trauma speaking. And when you look back, when you go back, sometimes, this journey has made me look back a lot. You have to go back and keep looking back and keep looking. Sometimes it's just the little girl in you that is, scared, that is feeling so unloved, that is feeling so, unworthy, in a very sad space. And you have to go and pluck her out of that and come and bring that love back to yourself and find joy in everything. Usually the things that are just around you, everything that you do. There's so many things that make you happy, but you're not seeing it, because that little girl, the things that were making her happy, very different for what is making you happy right now. Very, very different. That time she just wanted mamake amwambie I love you something. That is what she was seeking, Or that time, she just wanted her friends to stop bullying her. She just wanted to feel included. Right now, there are people who want to include you. But that little girl is still crying. So I had to pluck her. I had to go and hold her hand and say, you're walking with me. We are no longer in that space. It's a different space now. We have people that love us. We have love within us. And the peace we are seeking for, we can provide for ourselves. I can provide you peace, you can provide me peace. And we can walk this journey together. It does not have to be chaotic, it does not have to be difficult, it does not have to be sad, not anymore. Right now you have love. And you can always find, even when one road is closed, you can always find purpose, a new purpose. You can always find it. And sometimes it's okay to allow yourself to just be in that stillness. As you figure, it's okay to figure your life out. It's okay not to be okay. Sometimes when I want to be sad, I will just be sad. But I won't take myself back to that space where now I feel like it is over with. I just have to understand in this moment, it is this one thing that is making me sad. Not the whole life as a whole. It's just one thing. Or I'm disappointed. I have to put names. I had to describe it. I'm disappointed by this. I'm angry at this. Not at life as a whole. At this one specific thing. At this one person. In this very moment, I feel ashamed. It does not mean I am not worthy. It does not mean I am useless. In this very moment, I'm feeling these feelings of shame that I can rectify this way or that way. And the rectifying process, one day at a time. I don't put, very small expectations that I can actually achieve. Not big ones. Small ones, one day at a time. Oh, I can do this today. What can I do today to make myself feel better? To put myself in a better space? I teach makeup, and I'm a very, very good teacher, by the way. And I'm having a master class. I have master classes every now and again, and I do master classes all over the place. So you can check out my pages. I'm Rosina Sharon everywhere. Instagram, TikTok, everywhere else. You'll find me as Rosina Sharon. I do bridal makeup as well as teaching makeup classes, master classes. I do personal classes, professional classes. I do online classes as well. And I am now venturing into new things, but please follow my pages for that. And subscribe to my YouTube, Rosina Sharon. I do teach makeup on my YouTube. Very detailed videos, by the way. Look at my face. Yeah, walking billboard on here. Yeah, so please subscribe and follow my pages. My numbers are in every one of my pages. Just go there. If you want to connect to me directly, go there, you'll find me. My inboxes, again, are very open to the public. Just go there, inbox me, let's connect. I do events, bridals, teaching, anything else you want, even mentorship, by the way. Yeah.